What's up guys, today we have this MacBook Air with a cracked bezel. And what I mean by that, if you look here, we have a cracked chip bezel. It's located right on the bottom of the screen, and it's a common piece that breaks all the time. We have a video on YouTube that actually shows the replacement on another MacBook, the same replacement, but we decided to do another video just to help some people out there that want to do it themselves. It's not an easy repair. It's pretty difficult. It's not for a beginner, so I wouldn't suggest anybody going and trying it if you're not confident enough to do it. People don't do this repair usually, or shops don't do it because behind this bezel here is the flex cables for the LCD, and those flex cables are bonded, and any damage to those flex cables while trying to remove this bezel will break the screen. So nobody wants to be liable for breaking a screen replacing basically a glass bezel piece on the bottom. So we're gonna go ahead and do this, and we can show you how it's done, and let's get started. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply a little heat in this section first. We're gonna start with this section first, and we're gonna work our way towards the end of the Mac. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put it on low heat. You don't use a lot because you could burn the screen, you burn the LCD. You just want to apply a little bit of heat so it gets warm, not too hot. That bezel is held in by adhesive, so it doesn't take much heat to get it loosened up. I'm just feeling with my hand, so I make sure it's not getting too hot. All right, now I'm gonna use a plastic, my little thin playing card. I'm gonna apply a little bit of alcohol. You'd want to use the alcohol as little as possible. Let me see if I can get in here. I'm just gonna get in the corner with my card, and I use a card because it's so thin and flexible, and it's not hard, so it doesn't damage anything. Let me see if I can get in here. It's giving me a little trouble getting in. Apply a little more. Let's apply a little more heat. We're gonna lift a little bit. I got in there a little bit. Let me put some more alcohol. All right, as you can see, we're gonna slide down now. I want to gently push it as I go along, and I'm going to apply a little alcohol and apply a little heat at the same time as well. I'm going to stop there because it was getting a little tight. Apply a little more heat. I want to be slow as possible. This thing is super delicate. I really don't want to break the screen, so we're gonna go as slow as possible, and we're gonna hope for the best. This area right here is not good because of the cracks. You see that it's chipped and missing pieces, so it's not gonna come off in one piece. So I'm trying to mitigate that as much as possible. A little tiny drop of alcohol. As you can see, I'm not using too much because the display has a backlight, and you don't want the alcohol to seep into the display. That would ruin the screen too. All right, we have a little bit of resistance here now. As you can see, it's not good. If I could pull it a little bit, maybe I will. I'm gonna pull a little bit and get underneath that. Yes, perfect. Now I'm gonna continue going along. Put a little bit of alcohol, and then let's use a little more heat. All right. We're gonna keep going along. And resistance again. I gotta pull this glass a little bit so I can get the card underneath. All right, we gotta stop there, and then let's put a little more alcohol, and we're gonna have to use a little more heat. Honestly, I'm gonna use a little more heat. I'm gonna pull, and I'm gonna put the card underneath the next section. Just like so, as you can see. Now we can go and continue the rest of the way. It should come off in one piece after this. Oh, we got another little barrier. We got one more cracked piece that we have to get underneath. Let me use a little bit of heat and we'll continue. Now you want to use the lowest setting because as you see, the keyboard is all plastic and you don't want to heat up the plastic too much. They will melt. Trust me. Ask me how I know. I've done it a lot. Those pieces will melt so easy. You won't even realize that you're heating it up and then it's already too late. Alright, now we got into the main piece. Now this one piece right here is all solid. This was just the cracked area. Now we can go ahead and move along. And hopefully it comes off easy. I'm going to apply heat across the whole screen, across the bottom, so it's evenly spread out. And not, you know, heated up in one spot. You want to, like I said, alcohol will definitely help a lot. It will definitely help a lot, loosen up that adhesive. As you can see, it's gliding through pretty easy. We're going to go at this rate. We're not going to go any faster. Apply more heat across the whole screen. I'm going to go inch by inch. You know, this is not something you want to rush. I've tried rushing in the past. It never works out. The screen is always broke. Look at that. It's going, slicing through nice and easy. Exactly how you want it to be. And guys, don't use anything else other than a thin playing card. You can't use a spudger, a plastic piece. Nothing else will do this job better than a thin playing card. It's harder to break the screen with a thin playing card. You will break the screen with anything metal, any metal spudger, any thin metal pieces, plastic pieces, plastic spudgers you don't want to use. It's getting a little tight here. I have to apply more heat, to be honest. All right, let's get it. A little more heat. All right. And there we go. Going at it again. There's like so much stuff in between, like food particles and dust. You can just see it. And we are getting stuck again. Now we're gonna have to just apply a little more heat and some alcohol. Well, that scared me. I have the screen on just in case, you know, I make any mistakes. I can stop. You know, I like having the screen on. I don't like having it turned off. Just makes me a little more comfortable doing the repair. And there is some resistance. We're getting through. It's honestly the heat. It's definitely I'm using as least heat as possible. You know, usually use a little more, but you know, I really don't want to melt this keyboard. The LCD has a tolerance. You could see if it does burn a little bit, it heals itself. I don't want to show you guys that, only if I did it by accident, which is just happened, but the LCD has the ability to heal itself if it gets too hot. Nah, I don't know what's happening here. It's just, it's really tight. It's really tight. All right, we're getting through again. We're getting through. It's kind of scary when it gets a little tight. You know, it almost seems like, you know, it feels like it's gonna break. You know, and that is the worst part of doing this. I really hope it doesn't get to that. All right, we're going along. I can hear the adhesive cutting as I'm going. I'm trying to be gentle as possible. All right, let's put some heat. Like I said, don't use too much alcohol. It may seep into the screen. But since the screen is sitting upright, you know, chances are pretty slim. Oh, God, what is happening here? Not good, not good. Not good, guys. Alright, I might stop there, and I'm going to start on this side. I think that's best move. Or try this one more time. No, there's some heavy resistance there. You know what? I'm gonna start here. Look at this. This is a piece of tape. So I got in through the other side. This side is definitely going in a lot easier. I'm working against the adhesive now. I'm sorry, with the adhesive. I think what happened here is the adhesive got bundled up like this underneath that bezel, and it prevented me from going. So that's why I started on this side, so I can go a little easier. As you can see, it's going a little more easier here. But at the same time, I still don't want to push it right through. I'm gonna use heat again, and gonna go again. So as you can see, there's no resistance, very little, but just going slow. Put a little alcohol, drops. I'm using drops. I'm using a needle nose alcohol bottle. This tip is a lifesaver. Spotting the alcohol where I need it. Apply a little more heat as we're going along. If you guys want to do this repair, send it right over to me. You can ship it over to our store, and we'll be more than happy to take care of it for you if you don't want to take this on yourself. Like I said, if you don't want to ruin a $300-400 screen, maybe it's better to leave it to someone that has done them before. And like I said, I've done these before. I've maybe broken two in my life. I've broken the screen while trying to replace the bezel, and obviously that's a very expensive mistake. All right, we're getting through. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there. The last stretch. This is the last stretch, guys, and we're done. Should be a click. There. That's it. This whole thing is loose now. We could remove it. Should just come right out. And there is a piece of tape stuck. I'm gonna cut that. I'm gonna cut that with the blade. There we have it. Look how dirty it is underneath the bezel. It goes to show anything to get in any crevice. You can see here how much stuff. Look, if you look down there, there's a lot of stuff in there. We're gonna clean that all out. And then prepare the area for the new bezel, which is here. Got a new uncracked bezel that we're putting on, and this is it. It is a OEM piece that I personally took off another MacBook screen, so we don't have to worry about it being aftermarket, it breaking easy. This is straight genuine. So take my tweezer, just remove a little bit of this tape that was left over so it doesn't get in the way of putting in the new one, because there might be a little bump or... All right, there we go. Gonna remove this piece now. Of course, you want to be careful with using any kind of tweezer around this area. So if you could look here, these are the flex cables for the screen. The orange yellow pieces that you see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If any which of those get damaged, you will see streaks in the screen. Black lines, color lines. They'll go straight up from here to there. If I take this tweezer and poke a little hole in this, the screen will show a black line going vertical up. That's how you know you've damaged the screen and you've damaged these flex bonds. So these are the that's why I say you want to go slow when you're doing this repair, because you put any more pressure on these points, it will break. All right, guys. So I'm gonna use a soft brush like this. Look how soft it is. It bends when I press it against my hand. You don't want to use anything hard. This is a very soft brush because of this area that we're cleaning up. It's very sensitive, obviously, like I said before. So you want to use a very soft brush to clean up this area of debris and dust. So we're going to just go ahead and just brush gently. As you can see how much stuff is coming out. I have my air balloon here that I can just target and just go over the whole thing again. And then we're going to go ahead and brush one more time. Dust here, dirt and dust here. I'm just gonna loosen it up and then we could blow it out. So it's nice and clean for the new one. I'm gonna take my plastic spudger here. We're gonna go along the plastic piece right on the bottom and just just go like that, as you can see, right along the edge. All right, nice and clean. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use some cold pressed glue that we have here with a very fine tip, so I can accurately put the glue where I want to go. as this bezel is pretty thin and the areas you just can't put it everywhere. You're gonna avoid the LCD flex cables. You're not gonna put glue, any kind of glue on those cables at all. You wanna make sure the glue stay away from those areas. So now we're gonna put this glue, a little tiny bead, on this black little piece of trim here. We're gonna start there. Just put a little bit, just like that. I'm gonna go to the next. We wanna use only a little bit. It doesn't need a lot to stick on. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna only stick to the black areas of this screen here where it's exposed. You don't wanna put it on the gold, like I said, the orange flex cables. You don't wanna put it too high. You wanna just put it just exactly where I'm putting it now. And a small amount, nothing more than a tiny bead is all it needs. And we're gonna put some here and some there. And then we're gonna put some on the bottom, right on this plastic, the trim on the bottom. And we're gonna put some there. Like I said, it's away from the LCD cables. It's not nowhere near touching it. All right. That looks good. We're gonna go ahead and install it now while the glue is fresh. Okay, line it up. And you want to just gently press it. Gently. Alright? You don't have to push it in too hard. Gently press it. Just like that with my finger. I'm just going to go across. Alright? That is in. And then I'm going to clean up the area with some alcohol and a wipe. Just I'm going to put some on the wipe here. And I'm going to go along the screen here and just clean up any residue that might have been left over. And then on the bottom, I'm also going to do the same thing. I'm just going to get in there and just clean up any residue. Just like so. And then just clean up just like this. Gonna go across, clean it up. And that is it. We are done. This glue will dry. It doesn't need to be pressed. It's such a thin piece. It doesn't need much pressure to adhere back to the MacBook. So now I don't have to clamp it. It is a cold press glue. Cold press glues, if you do know, they need a lot of pressure for it to dry properly. But in this instance, this bezel will stick just properly. It being flat and it being closed, it will dry just good enough as like new. And that is it, guys. That concludes the repair. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you, like I said, if you guys want us to do this repair, if you have something like this, you could definitely send it over and we could do so.